When you've identified something that is either working or not working in your life, or something that you truly want to be doing, your subconscious mind begins to take over and show you opportunities and ideas that you may otherwise miss. That's the power of having a self-care practice, slowing down and checking in with yourself first. Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila Botello, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome to this week's Q&A episode. The question I'm focusing on this week originated in a message exchange with Laura. She had been asking about how to stay consistent with her self-care when her schedule kept changing. It led her to asking why to even bother having a self-care habit right now. I understand how she feels. Lately, just when you begin to feel settled into some sort of routine, life changes and you feel uprooted again. And I still believe it's worth doing. Here's why. Wellness and self-care have always been really important to me, particularly in my adult life. Once I became a mother, I felt in my body the need to support my health so I could be an effective mom and still fulfill the other elements of my purpose outside of motherhood. A few years ago, I began doing some deep work into my purpose and mission. Because here's the thing, we're always growing and evolving, and I love that. Staying the same definitely feels like being in a rut to me. Now, I will tell you that I'm the same person in terms of my essence that I've always been. However, I have developed layers and new flavors of my personality and have discovered new abilities and new interests as the years have gone by. I'm sure when you think about it, it's been the case for you as well. So when I started to dive deeper into what this next phase of my purpose looked like, a few words kept coming up. Words like voice, space, impact. And as I looked back to connect the dots to see how all of my experiences linked together over the years, I found a connecting thread. Giving to myself first so I could serve others better. Having space to stay connected to who I truly am before going out and living and working and giving to others. That ultimately is the definition of self-care, isn't it? The activities that live under the umbrella of self-care are widely varied. There truly are a lot of options, and I believe that in life, everything we do is individualized because we are individuals. Wellness and self-care are no different. So why do I think that self-care can change your life and change your future and even create your dream life? Well, it really starts small. It can be super simple. You could start with beginning your day with 5 minutes of silence to check in with yourself. It's in those 5 minutes that you will recognize how you're really feeling and what you would want to be different in your life, who you truly want to show up as, and maybe how are you letting yourself down? And how are you winning? In that 5 minutes of solitude and silence, you get to the root of what's really going on in your life. It may not happen the first time, it may not even happen after a month, but eventually a recurring theme will start to emerge. And eventually that idea or thought will follow you around through your day and week and even your year. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. When you've identified something that is either working or not working in your life, or something that you truly want to be doing, your subconscious mind begins to take over and show you opportunities and ideas that you may otherwise miss. That's the power of having a self-care practice, slowing down and checking in with yourself first. Soon that 5 minutes turns into 15 minutes where perhaps you start journaling, dreaming into these ideas that keep giving you gentle nudges. And then throughout your day, you start to notice a person or an event or an experience that can help you expand on that idea or thought. Collaboration ideas begin to emerge, and then that 15 minutes in the morning turns into 30 minutes where you're sitting quietly, you're writing down your thoughts, and then you're starting to create a plan of action. You see where I'm going with this? That 30 minutes in the morning then turns into a phone call mid-morning to meet with someone for lunch or discuss some ideas and to brainstorm. That later turns into a mastermind where you're regularly gathering with like-minded people to expand even further. If we're talking self-care as moving your body, that's 5 minutes for a quick stretch in the morning that can turn into a 15-minute yoga practice, which can turn into an even longer practice or a good run or a walking group or a fitness class. Eventually, you find yourself seeking out more ways to be physically active through your day. You start taking the stairs instead of the elevator. You start parking further away from the store. You start walking dates with girlfriends instead of meeting for dessert. The limits to your imagination are only what you believe them to be. And when you check in with yourself regularly and take the time to allow ideas in and feelings to emerge within you, it's time well spent. In my experience of being single and then being married for 10 years with no kids, then being a mom for the past 14 years, I know so well that feeling of, I don't have time to sit and just let feelings emerge. Laundry needs to get done. Kids need to eat. The blog needs to get posted. I got to get in the car for a 2-hour drive to make it on time in traffic to practice. There's always something. And yet, all of those activities or busy work, the stuff of life, becomes even more purposeful when I've first taken the time to identify my priorities and to tune into what is most important in my soul. It's really not a waste of time. It's actually the path of least resistance that gets you huge results in the end. And when I've had those moments where revelation occurs, it has meant I've been able to remove things from my schedule and clear things from my life that are not serving my purpose. Have you ever taken the time to ask yourself how it's going? Perhaps you've been spinning in circles for filling all of these commitments that you've made, and you've been out of touch with what's truly in your best use of your time or your highest good. Even as I say this, a lower part of myself starts to speak up and say, wow, that sounds really self-important. And then I'm reminded that when I'm living in my highest purpose, I'm not the only one winning. Everyone around me is winning too. When I'm fully invested in caring for my heart, my soul, and my body and mind, everyone truly wins. Since I'm happier, I go about my day with more levity and enjoyment. And let me tell you, being around my kids for as long as I have been, home educating them and being part of their creative and physical activities, my attitude and my energy definitely rubs off on them. How about you? And I'm a walking example of how adulting can look. Everything I do is being modeled for them. My energy is also rubbing off on my husband, my extended family, friends, and everyone I meet wherever I go. I've had many days where I've been out and not really been in the best spirits. I didn't help anyone. I didn't lift anyone up. And that's okay. We're entitled to have those days too. But when I have spread amazing energy, when I've been out in the world, I've brought a smile to others' faces. Perhaps I've helped them feel heard because I've connected to them. And then I in turn feel great myself because that's the power of connection with other human beings. It's one of the things I love the most about this podcast, connecting with people through these solo and Q&A episodes, and especially interviewing amazing individuals and hearing their stories and perspectives. And everything I do began with me making space for self-care. Starting with the question, how am I really doing? What's missing in my life? What would I like to be different? What's pulling me right now in my soul? What would I do if fear didn't exist? I invite you to ask yourself these very questions regularly. I invite you to start small with your self-care. Perhaps the term self-care turns you off because it seems indulgent, expensive, and overdone. If that term doesn't work for you, then consider calling it soul care. Soul care is truly where it's at, because when you nourish your soul, everything shifts in your body and your world. I would love to hear what you're doing to connect more deeply with your own purpose and how you're elevating your health and your energy each day. Please tag me at Sheila A. Botello to let me know. I mostly hang out on Instagram these days, and you can also send me a message to info@sheilabatello.com, and I will reply to whatever comes in. You have one amazing, beautiful life, and regardless of what the world may show you, it's up to you how you get to use it. I hope you'll give yourself the gift of living it well. And if you're content where you're at right now, beautiful. Still, keep asking yourself the question of what's next for you, because that path to growth is a true sweet spot in our lives. Thanks for listening, and I wish you a beautiful, connected week. Big blessings.
Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast.
If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together.
See you next time.